Hey everyone, welcome. I wanted to give a quick intro on this video. I've got a lot of business videos and a lot of technical training videos as well. And you guys are gravitating towards the technical aspect, and I understand that, I get it. We're all technicians. I'm a technician. I also gravitate towards those videos as well. But I want to kind of try to push you guys to the business aspect of your business. I know we all want to learn how to be better at what we do, but as a business owner, you need to get better at the business owning part of the business. I know it's not as exciting, it's not as fun to watch, it's not as easy to get into, but I want to encourage you guys to get into the business and start working on your business rather than in your business. And I'd love to see you guys use this someday as the training or part of the training for your employees as you hire and as you're training them, that they would be able to watch these videos as part of their training. And then you guys as business owners would be watching the business videos, because it's so important to understand how to run the business properly, because it's very easy for things to get out of control, and then pretty soon you look 10 years back and you've been doing things wrong, and you want to be able to sell this business someday or make something of this business that you're proud of. Maybe you want to run multiple trucks, maybe you don't, but I want to be able to see you guys, even if you stay a single truck operation your whole career, I want to see you guys be able to be comfortable. And that's what most of us want, is just to be comfortable. And knowing how to run your business the right way, it relieves so much stress and frees you up to do so many different things in your business. That's what we do at Carpet Cleaner Training, is teach people how to grow their business, how to grow it and build it the right way, so one day you can sell it, or you can give it to one of your kids, or you can do something that you've always wanted to do with it. One more thing, if you guys could like and subscribe, that would be awesome. Even if you just hit that thumbs up button, it helps get pushed out to more people, so more people can see the videos. And that's my thing. I want the maximum amount of cleaners in this industry to be able to run their business the right way. So if you could do that for me, like, subscribe, push these videos out to more people. Ask me questions in the comment section. Let me know what you want to see, what you're not sure about, what you want to hear more of, and I'll make the videos for you. But anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. Enjoy this. We're going to learn all about stretching. Let me know if you have any questions on that. No more talking from me. Straight into the video. Have a great day, you guys. Hey guys, Sean, Carpet Cleaner Training here. And this morning I'm headed to a job. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about add-on services. So if you're going to a job and you're going to do an estimate and you think it may be small, like this job was just 2 rooms. So I went to the job and to do the estimate, and he wasn't there. He just gave me the code to get in. It was listed as for sale. So he wanted to get the carpet clean. So I went in, and it's 2 rooms. What are you going to do? You're going to do a minimum charge, most likely, unless they're big rooms. And that's exactly what it was. It was a minimum charge, just 2 small bedrooms. So I wrote up the estimate. My minimum's 120, so the job was going to be 120. But what I noticed was that it had some wrinkles in each room. So the carpet needed to be stretched. So in addition to that, I went ahead and bid him for a stretch as well. So the job that was 120 is now, I believe I booked it out at $230. So it's going to nearly double my minimum charge, double my job average for that job. And it'll take me a little extra time, but it's not that bad. I'll stretch both rooms and be in and out still, hour and a half to 2 hours. Not too bad, but I wanted to let you guys know, always look for something extra to do. You don't want to just go in, it's all he wanted is a carpet cleaning. So go in there and bid the carpet cleaning, and don't mention any of the other things that he needs or could possibly need. Does he need tile cleaning? Do they need a sofa cleaned? Do they need stretching or repairs? What do they need? They don't always exactly know what they may need. If you see a repair necessary, they may not have even noticed it. If you see a spot on a sofa, they may not have noticed it. You may be surprised what people see and don't see when they're living in a house. Does the carpet need a pet treatment? All these things can boost your job average, and the whole goal is to make as much money as you can while you're in any particular house, and then do the best job that you can on those things. So just want to let you know that's where I'm going today, and I'll show you how we go about stretching a couple of rooms and the equipment that's necessary to do it properly. And you will need some training. There's some training involved in here. Now if you get close with a couple of guys that do installs, you can sub this out. Typically I do sub my repairs out, but this was small enough and the job was small enough that I wanted to get my job average up, so I went ahead and bid for me to do it. And since I have the equipment to do it properly, it's not a big deal. But get to know some installers in your area, some that you can trust, that you don't mind, hey, call this lady, go take care of her stretch for you, here's her phone number. And or do what I do and bid the job. Get to know their prices, what they're comfortable with. Bid the job higher, so you're making a percentage of their job as well as the work that you're doing. So on this one I could have done that, and I probably would have made an extra $20 to $30, but I'm not going to make over $100 that I charged for it. So just make sure you get to know some people in the area that can do some of the larger stretch jobs. So if you go into a house and the whole thing needs to be stretched and you don't have the time or knowledge to do that, get to know somebody that does. You bid it at, say, oh, I'm going to bid this at $500. They're going to charge you $300. You're still making good money off of their work. The customer really doesn't know what the going rate is for stretching. So unless they call around and find, 3 guys that are willing to do it for what you're charging them or less, which chances are they're not going to do that. They trust you. You're the professional. Don't gouge them. Charge them a fair rate for the work. A lot of installers work pretty cheap, so take advantage of that. They're cheap. If they're charging you $3 a yard to stretch it, then charge your customer $5 or $6 a yard to stretch it. Come up with a price where you're still going to make money off just handing them some work to do. They go in, they stretch it for you, you pay them, customer pays you, and everybody's happy. The installer made money, the customer's happy, they've got a nice stretched flat carpet or repairs done on the carpet, whatever they need, and everybody made money in this transaction, and the customer's happy because they have what they want. They want a nice, clean, stretched, and good repair carpet. So just keep an eye out for these things and get some training that's involved in doing stretches. But if you have questions, just ask them in the comment section. I'd be happy to help you out as much as I can. As far as equipment, you'll see what I need to do the stretch when I get there, and show you how to do it as well. So I'll catch up with you in a few minutes when we get to the condo, and we'll take a look at it. See you soon. All right, so here we are at the house, and we'll take a look at this real quick. See if we can get a good look at the wrinkles here. So they're not real bad, but there's a couple wrinkles in this room. So the whole room is a little bit loose, and you can tell that by where the furniture was. You see it's bubbled up next to the wall. So the whole room requires a stretch, not a big room. Closet, not so much. It's fine. And then the other room in here, same type of deal. This one's not as bad, but there's a wrinkle right there. And then when we're cleaning this, they had a cardboard box sitting here, and it looks like a little bit moldy and crusty under there, so we'll work on that as well. But fairly easy stretch, so let me show you how to do this. First of all, let's look at the equipment necessary. So this is the repair equipment I'm going to be using. This is a Crane Junior stretcher. It comes with 4 poles. I don't know the exact length on that, but 4 extension poles, a knee kicker, hammer, it's a mallet, and then this piece here is it's a trimmer for the edge of carpet. I'll show you how that works, and then a utility knife. Now you can use a regular utility knife. This is a carpet utility knife. This is also named a Bloody Mary. So there is no guard on this, and these are razor blades. So I gave this to a buddy of mine to help me on a job one time, and I told him, don't cut yourself with that, there's no guard, and within 5 minutes he had cut himself. So be very careful with those. If you're not used to it, just get a utility knife and use that. So this is all you need to do a proper stretch.
This is your most expensive piece. You probably pick them up used for a couple $100. Knee kickers, 50, 60 bucks. And this is probably about 30. And then these are, within $5 you can get those. So let me get set up and then I'll show you how I go about stretching this room. All right, so first thing you want to do when you're doing a stretch is, first of all, check which direction the wrinkles are going. They're going this way. Okay, so lengthwise down the room this way. Get your stretcher set up. Just real quick on how this works. It goes together with a little pin system, so just hit the buttons and the tubes will slide into one another. This is an adjustable tube, the first one. You just pull these and this will slide back and forth. This has spikes on the bottom of this, so this will grab that top carpet and be able to push it, so it grabs onto it. So then when you push this down, the whole thing stretches, so you get about that much stretch, so maybe 5 inches or so out of this. So what you do is you put this against the wall. Let's see if I can move this over here. When you're ready to stretch, I'm not prepped yet, but when you push this, you can see, push that all the way down, how much pull you can get. You'll pull those wrinkles right out, no problem. So this will stretch, depending on how heavy you are, how hard you can push that down, about 1,500 pounds. So what you want to do first is pull, grab a corner, and this one's loose, sometimes they're really tight, and just give it a pull. You're going to have to pull this out of this gully here. Okay, now that's tack strip. These nails are angled that way, so as the carpet gets put down on there, it will hold it in place when you stretch it. So just pull the whole wall up, because you stretch the whole wall. Sometimes you don't have to. You can just get away with stretching a partial or just one wrinkle out, but this whole room's loose. So just take your time and do it right. Now, some people say, well, you only need to stretch one direction. Well, truly no, you need to stretch both directions. If you stretch one way and you don't stretch the other way, you could very easily create wrinkles, or what I would call stretch wrinkles, going the other way. So it's just best to stretch properly, stretch both directions. Now, when carpet's installed, it should be stretched 1.5 to 2% of its length. So when a carpet wrinkles like this, typically it is an improper stretch. It's not anything the carpet's fault, but it is the carpet installer's fault. They didn't do a proper stretch on it. They either knee kicked this room or just run as quick as they could, pound this installation in and done. Or a homeowner did it. Lots of different ways this could happen, but it's typically an improper stretch 90% of the time. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the proper amount of stretch on this room. So if you calculated, if this room's 10 feet and you need to do 1.5%, just do the math on that. Figure out how much you need to stretch out of this room, and it will never wrinkle again. So let me set the camera up and I'll give you a good idea of how I go about stretching this room. All right, so what we got here is we got the stretcher set up. It is against that wall and you're pushing off of that wall. Pole extends to here, and all you got to do is push this down, and you can see how that works. It just pushes that down. Now it said on a 10-foot room, now this is a new install. If it was a 10-foot room, you should have about 1.2 to 2.5 inches of stretch. Now here I've got about 1 inch, so I'm just gonna pull it again real quick and get a little bit more. I wanna make sure this room is perfectly stretched. So that's 1.5, 1.2, somewhere around there. And then on the first pull here, when I'm in the corner, what I'm gonna do is take the kicker here, and there's a little notch designed for the corner of that, the tip of that kicker there. And it's up with this notch right here, and just give it a good kick, and that's going to drive it into the corner, because when you're stretching, it's going to tend to want to pull away from that corner a little bit. And then one more tool I forgot to show you was this here, and this is just designed to just tuck it in. That's all you got to do, is tuck it in. You don't have to pound it just yet. So that's going to hold your corner, and then push it in right there. And I'll show you how I do this here. Just hold down. You want to drive it down onto the pins there. Drive it down, and then when you're releasing kicker a little bit, or the stretcher, just push down as you're going, and it'll draw back a little bit. And what that does is it's going to hold the carpet with those pins. So that's all you need to do. And then you just go across the room in the same fashion. Now what you want to do is pull, when you're pushing your stretch, you want to make sure you're at a slight angle. Sorry, I got it kind of stuck there. Slight angle away from you. So then you're going to push, see the angle there. That way when you're going across this room, it's going to push all the carpet that direction. We drove it into this corner, so that corner is going to hold. The whole room's disengaged except for that wall. So I disengage this wall, and that's going to allow it to stretch. Then as you're going across, you're going to be pushing the carpet all that way. Since that corner's tucked, it'll hold. So as you're going across this room, this carpet's going to kind of stretch in that direction. And then we'll do that wall too and stretch it from that end to this end, and we'll stretch the whole thing tight. So I'm going to set up the camera and get a kind of an idea. You'll see how I go across this room and how I go about doing the stretch. So I'll be back in just a second.
So the main thing is when you're working with stretching is just don't get in a hurry. Do it one step at a time. You'll see I'm not moving particularly fast. As you get better, you'll be able to move a little bit quicker as you're going across the room. You want to make sure you keep that angle on the stretcher, and then just use your weight, push down, and those pins will drive that carpet forward. Then just work slowly and tuck that carpet down. Now you can either use your fingers or you can use that stair tool and just tap it down. You're not trying to shove it down into that gully yet. You're just setting that carpet on the pins as you're working your way across. So again, don't be in a hurry. Just work your way one step at a time. And then when you're finished with a section, release the pressure, then pick it up and just slide it exactly the width of the head over. And remember, try to keep that angle. You'll see here I still have a little bit of that angle. It doesn't have to be steep angle. Just keep a slight angle pointed towards the wall you're stretching to. And then every time you're just going to slide it across that wall. Now there I have more of a straight angle, and the camera's kind of picked that up, that I should have a little bit more angle on there pointed towards where I'm stretching, but I don't. It's not the end of the world. It's not a huge deal. It's just one or two of the stretches isn't going to be pointed quite towards that wall I'm going to, but it's not really that big a deal. And usually when you have an angle, it's not going to be 20% or anything like that. You're going to get maybe a 3 to 5% angle on that stretcher pole. And, so it's not really that you're doing a 45-degree angle or something like that. You're just going to give a little bit of an angle there, and then just so it's pointed towards the wall you're going to. You don't want to have it straight because you'll end up with kind of these weird wrinkles that you're going to have to pull out later. But if you do it this way, you won't have you won't be causing a wrinkle that you're going to have to get rid of in your sideways stretch. So I'm just finishing up here that last little bit, and you'll notice that I leave that last little bit up, and that's for a reason you'll see later.
All right, so we got this wall stretched, and you can see that didn't take too long. We get about 1 to 1.5 inches depending on where I am on this wall. So what I'm going to do now is relocate to this back corner here, and then I'm going to stretch this direction at that angle all the way to that corner, and that'll give us a full room stretch both directions. You're not going to have any weird wrinkles or anything like that. We're just going to stretch both directions, and I'll set up the camera and you can see that wall as well.
Now as we switch directions here, it's exactly the same thing. You'll see that I set the corner, and then I'm just going to work my way across the room. One note here, there's a doorway where you can't see where the foot of that pole will be going. On a typical doorway like that, it's not a big deal. Just you'll get a little steeper angle as you kind of are on one side of the doorway, and then you'll straighten it out. And you just jump all the way across the doorway to the other side to give you a base to stretch off of. And you're just going to do the same thing, just work your way across the room. one width of the head at a time. Stretch it down and then set those on the pins of the tack strip and just keep working your way across. And then in this room, you'll notice that I actually forgot to do something, and I'm just going to show you that here in a second. Right here, I noticed that something's not quite right as I looked at that back wall, and let's take a look at that right now.
Now, what you want to make sure you do before you stretch this wall is to tuck this wall so that we disengaged it to relax the carpet so we could pull in this direction. So when you're stretching this wall, you got to make sure that this wall is tucked. So easy to do that. You're not going to have to stretch it. So I disengaged up to about here, and all you got to do, now, if you see this knee kicker, it expands too. So I like to use it full length, so right about there, and just get here. You just give it a good kick, and then you can usually just shove it down with your finger, and this will just make sure that it's making contact with those pins, so that when you're stretching the other direction, it doesn't come loose from the wall. So you can use your tucking tool too, called stair tool, to do that. But you don't have to. A lot of times it's loose enough on this edge to really not have any problem, and just kind of push it down with your fingers. It doesn't have to be really set on the pins too tight, because it's going to stretch. We're going to stretch it the other direction. So that will pull and provide the pressure that these pins need to hold on those, on the back of that carpet. So easy. Do that. Now we are ready to stretch that other direction. As you can see, I started before I had tucked that, so luckily I hadn't pulled that far back, so it wasn't a problem. So I'm ready to continue this stretch here. So let's get this camera set up right there and finish out this stretch. So move it down. You don't need a heavy angle on this, just a little angle. And you'll notice I don't have to stretch this direction quite as heavy. This wasn't the direction the wrinkles are going. This is the opposite way. So not as big of a deal. We're not pulling out wrinkles. We're just making sure that we don't get a wrinkle because we caused pressure stretching the other direction. So that can happen if you stretch one way too hard and don't stretch the other way. You'll get a wrinkle going the other direction. So it's just safer to do this. That way you don't have to worry about it. You can see this just isn't difficult. It's just a matter of knowing where to start and what to do. Once you got the technique down, it goes pretty quick. The main thing is just make sure you do it right. Make sure you stretch both directions and you're not going just down one direction, causing wrinkles and other problems. So you just want to make sure that you are consistent with your stretch. Don't make big jumps with this. You want to just go that far. The last piece, if you stretch too hard on that last one, you don't want to create a wrinkle in the corner. Once you push it down, release the pressure. Now I'm going to kick this. I'll just kick that in the corner real quick. So move this out of the way. Get this right in the corner. Give it a kick. Shove it down. So now we're ready to trim the edge here, and I'll show you how this thing. You can do it with the razor knife, with that Bloody Mary I showed you, or you can do it with the tool I showed you. I'll show you both ways. We'll start with the knife right here. Make sure we can get a good look at that. So easy way to do it is come down, straight down, and then you're going to want to come along the back right there. And you can see, if you look in here, where it's kinked at, where I shoved it against the wall, you want to cut just above that kink. And this is tedious, so you want to it takes time. Watch yourself with the knife, because your finger's under here, so you don't want to go all the way through and slash your finger with the knife. Then once that is done, that's when this comes in the mallet, and just shove it down in there. So when you're doing it with the, right there. So that's finished. What you don't want to do is go, you see, why don't I just shove it right here and cut this way? Because you're going to cut your baseboard, and they're painted baseboards. It'll just make a mark. So that's not a good idea to do that. The other way to do it is with this. Starts the same way. Give it a cut straight down, and then this just shoves back in there, and then you're going to go ahead and do that. Make short work of it, and then it's right at the right height. One thing with using that, if you don't have it adjusted right, you could cut it a little short or a little, and then end up having to stretch it closer or kick it in. So make sure it's set at the right angle. Don't drive it down like this, but you want to run it right along it at the right angle, about like that. And then you can see this here is just the right, to just kind of angle it right down into that gully. These can kind of be a pain sometimes. This isn't really done properly, but it's a little wide of a gap. We're going to go ahead and work with it though. The main thing is just pop it straight down next to that as best you can. And then if you have a little bit of a seaming glue, you can glue that down in there. And then once you got it kind of in the edge, just trim, and you want to leave a little extra here because we're going to shove it in that hole. Just kind of trim back a little bit like that. You don't want to go too short here, and I'll kind of show you. Once that's trimmed, you got a little bit of extra there. That's going to create a bind between the tack strip and the edge of that wood strip. So just pop it in there and then hammer it flat, and that's going to keep it from coming out. Okay, so that's how you finish the edges. All right, one more thing I wanted to go over with you guys in here was you saw what direction I went, and I didn't kind of explain why. The wrinkles in this room were right here, so close to that doorway and farther away from here. So if I was to stretch away from that door and go this way, I create a problem here because I got to move a whole bunch of carpet over here, and then you get in a bind by this doorway, and it creates a wrinkle right there towards the corner of this door. So you want to try to avoid any areas like that. So wrinkles over there, I'm going to stretch it this direction and then away from that doorway that direction. That gives it a nice tight fit. This room is finished. And then over here, when you get into this room, wrinkles here. So what I want to do is pull away. You don't want to stretch into this closet because then that just opens up a whole other can of worms of trying to stretch into that closet and all these angles. So what you want to do is stretch away from your areas of difficulty, so away from this area, and then as you go through the room, again away from this. So you want to go this direction as you stretch away from that doorway. So just kind of lay out your room the easiest way you can. I don't like to stretch into doorways, but I didn't really have an option in that other room. I had to stretch away from that closet and deal with this doorway because transitions are always the most difficult area. If you're next to tile or next to wood, you're having to fight it a little bit. Walls, that's all easy. So just when next time you go into a house, look, how would I stretch this? What would I do differently? If this was wrinkled here, how would I stretch it? And just kind of, it's just all common sense, move in certain ways so you avoid areas of difficulty. So that's just kind of how I go in through here. Now I'm going to get started cleaning, and then when I'm all finished, I will kind of show you the final walkthrough and see how it looks. So when I got here, I showed you this spot where the cardboard box was and the mold that was created underneath. I just want to show you what I did. Now I pre-sprayed all the carpet down with my enzyme pre-spray. I use the Clean Right Cleanse, and I'm going to go over it with the scrubber right now. Let's see what happens with this spot. It can look a little scary when you see something like that and you wonder, well, is it going to come out? The answer is it's going to be at least significantly better. But I would think that this is most likely going to come out 100%. So I'm going to scrub the crap out of it. I'm going to loosen up that. Now if you felt that spot, it was actually crusty. So it found like a bit of the cardboard was also stuck to the carpet in those areas. So I'm just going to scrub the hell out of it, get it really loosened up, and then when I clean it really well, and then if there's any spot left over, hit it with an oxidizing stain remover like Stain Magic or urine stain remover, something like that. And typically with mold or mildew stains, that will knock it the rest of the way out. So works really well. Oxidizers work excellent on mold and mildew stains. So that's what I'm going to do here, and then I'll walk through at the end with you and show you exactly what happened. But that's 80% just going with the scrubber. So I have a pretty good feeling that this is just going to go away with the cleaning or very close to it, and maybe it'll require just a tiny bit of stain remover. All right, we're all finished up here, and the walkthrough is here. Looks really good. There's a couple little stains there, but not real bad. You can get in kind of close there. Most of that staining is gone. You can kind of see the square where the piece of furniture was, or the box, I mean. But not too bad, and of course it's always worse in video. Looks really good visually with the eye. So everything's good. I'm going to head out and go to my next stop, and I will see you in the next video. Have a great day.